It had been one of those days. One of those long, exhausting, soul-draining Mondays that seemed to drag on without mercy. I was juggling meetings, emails, presentations, and unexpected client issues, all while trying to keep my composure in a glass-walled office that offered zero privacy and even less comfort. My name is Rachel Taylor. I'm a regional marketing director at a mid-sized tech company in Chicago. It's a position I fought hard to earn, and one that doesn't leave much room for rest. Today had been particularly brutal. By 8:15 a.m. I was already behind schedule. My Uber got stuck in traffic, and my phone wouldn't stop buzzing with messages from my team. There was a sudden crisis with one of our largest clients, something about ad metrics being misreported. That set the tone for the rest of the day. Meetings ran back to back. Lunch was just a granola bar between calls. Even my assistant, Ethan, who usually kept things running smoothly, looked just as overwhelmed. Ethan Myers had been my assistant for about 9 months. He was in his late 20s, smart, dependable, and always calm under pressure. He had a quiet confidence about him, the kind that made it easy to trust him with important things. He had joined the company fresh out of grad school, and from the very beginning I knew he had potential. Still, we hadn't really had the chance to talk much beyond work matters. I was always too busy, and Ethan never pushed for more than what was necessary. Until today. It was nearly 6:45 p.m. when I finally returned to my office after my last meeting. The moment I sat down at my desk, I let out a heavy sigh. My heels were killing me, my head was pounding, and my inbox still had 30 unread emails. I just wanted to crawl under my desk and hide. That's when Ethan walked in, gently knocking on the glass door before stepping inside. He was holding something behind his back, and for the first time all day, he wasn't holding his tablet or a notepad. "Rachel," he said softly, "do you have a second?" I looked up surprised. "Sure. What's up?" He stepped forward and revealed what he'd been hiding. In his hands was a small white paper bag with a logo I recognized instantly. Le Beau Café, my favorite little coffee and pastry shop just 2 blocks away. "I know today's been rough," he said with a shy smile. "So I got you something." I blinked at him, momentarily stunned. "Ethan, you didn't have to." "I know," he said, placing the bag on my desk. "But I wanted to." Inside the bag was a freshly baked almond croissant, still warm, and a to-go cup of their lavender chamomile tea, something I always ordered when I needed to relax. It wasn't just the gesture itself that surprised me, it was the thoughtfulness of it. He remembered my favorite treat, even though I'd only mentioned it once in passing weeks ago. I stared at the bag, then looked back up at Ethan. "This is really kind of you." He gave a small shrug. "You do a lot for everyone, and sometimes I think people forget you're human too. I just figured, maybe this would help, even a little." His words hit me harder than I expected. I blinked back tears, laughing awkwardly. "Okay, now you're going to make me cry." He chuckled. "That's not the goal. Just take 5 minutes. Enjoy it. You've earned it." And then he left, closing the door quietly behind him. For a full minute I just sat there, staring at the little paper bag. Then I opened it, tore a piece of the croissant, and took a sip of the tea. The warmth of it all, the flavor, the aroma, the sentiment, started to dissolve the weight I'd been carrying all day. It was amazing how something so small could make such a difference. After about 10 minutes, I walked out of my office and found Ethan still at his desk, typing up notes from the day. "You free for a few minutes?" asked him. He looked up surprised. Sure. Come inside." He followed me back into my office and sat down across from me. For a moment, I just looked at him, appreciating the calm presence he brought into the room. "I want you to know," I began, "that what you did just now, it wasn't just sweet. It was meaningful. And it reminded me why I'm lucky to have you on my team." He smiled a little, clearly not used to compliments. "I mean it," I added. "Sometimes I get so caught up in the work that I forget there are people around me who care. Thank you for reminding me." He nodded, his eyes meeting mine. "Anytime." Something shifted that evening between us. It wasn't romantic, but it was real. A deepening of respect, of mutual understanding. In the weeks that followed, I started involving Ethan in more creative discussions, invited him to a few key meetings, and even asked for his input on major decisions. He rose to every challenge without hesitation. One Friday afternoon, as we wrapped up a major project, I invited him out for a drink to celebrate. We ended up sitting at a rooftop bar downtown, watching the sun dip behind the skyline. "I've been meaning to ask," I said, sipping my cocktail. "Why did you really bring me that croissant that day?" He smirked. "Because I saw something in you that day I hadn't seen before. You looked done. And I've been there. I know what that feels like. You've never talked much about your past. I was raised by a single mom. She worked 3 jobs, rarely got a break. I used to leave little things for her. Coffee, sticky notes, snacks. Just so she'd remember someone was thinking about her. Guess it's still a habit." I smiled, feeling that familiar lump in my throat again. "She raised a good man." "Thanks," he said, a little embarrassed. From then on, Ethan became more than just my assistant. He was a sounding board, a confidant, and eventually a partner in more ways than one. Over time, I encouraged HR to expand his role. 6 months later, he was promoted to project manager in our department. Team noticed. Clients noticed. Even my superiors praised the shift in team dynamics. And all of it traced back to that one simple gesture on a stressful day. A croissant, a cup of tea, and the presence of someone who saw me when I was at my worst and chose to respond with kindness. Looking back now, I realize that kindness doesn't have to be loud or extravagant. Sometimes it's a quiet moment, a warm pastry, a thoughtful gesture that says, "You matter." See you.